Hold on. There we go. Hey everybody, good morning. David Moss here with Mac, Chris, and Dee. Hi everybody, good morning. Where are you guys all coming from today?
Down in Greenville, South Carolina today.
Greenville?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
And then about 15 minutes away from you there in Washington.
Western Washington. So we're here to talk about the community today, so now you change our industry. If you want to introduce yourself, maybe give a quick little elevator pitch on your guys itself, and we'll kind of jump in from there and let everybody join in. Well, we got somebody saying they're Bonnie Lake, Washington, so a lot of people Western Washington. Anybody else here joins in? We'd love to hear where you're from. Always love the participation. So.
Chris, since you're the originator of this whole effort, you wanna do the thing?
Sure. So my name is Chris Kirchville. Originally, we started as a collective group of guys who saw a need for change in the reality capture industry. Personally, myself, I come from a background of land surveying for 12 years. Migrated into reality capture and laser scanning, and been working in reality capture in some capacity, either as a support technician or a independent consultant for the last 6 or 7 years. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me. Dee?
Yeah. So, Chris, we met through originally. I wish I could remember how we met, because it was kind of clandestine, I guess, maybe. But I've been in the AEC industry for, was it 17 years now? I think it is. And I just started out as a nerd. I was just a software guy, and got into reality capture and realized just like how industry changing this entire technology and all these workflows and hardware and software were. And I started my company LuxPoint about 6 years ago, doing like scan to BIM, scan for prefabrication and whatnot. And this industry is like this whole thing that we're doing is really exciting, right? Because the technology that we talk about all the time is severely either underutilized or misused, and there's so much opportunity to impact all different aspects of architecture, engineering, construction. And when all of us got together and realized that we had the same mentality and the same hopes and goals for how we can improve the industry and truly utilize reality capture to its fullest extent, we have so much energy and synergy amongst us. This has just been an awesome experience, and I'm glad that we're getting ready to share this with everybody.
Right, me too.
Yeah. All right, so I'm Matt Kowalski. Well, first off, I just noticed we have a celebrity in the chat, Eric from Laser Scanning Europe. Congratulations on 3,000 subscribers there, brother. Yeah, so let's see, that's funny, David knew exactly who I was talking about as soon as I said that. He brought the picture.
I did too, yeah.
So I have been in laser scanning since about 2008. I started with construction staking, and I have a heavy background in construction. I didn't really become vocal about what I was doing until just a few years ago when I got into sales for a Leica dealer. We started Lightaholics, a year and a half ago now. We have K&K laser scanning too. But the interesting thing about Lightaholics, and I think it was about a year ago when I joined this group, I was invited by someone. And after I sat through the first meeting, I called the guy who invited me and I was like, did they steal my business idea? Like, because it's very similar. Like the whole reason we started Lightaholics was we wanted like an agnostic place where customers could come and view different sensors without being sold something and experience like what the industry has to offer without pressure. And it's very, very similar to what the committee is trying to do, just better the industry, you know. So I'm very excited. I think we've already done quite a lot of good things, and we're taking part in a lot of cool things. We just finished up a precision study with the ACI this last weekend in California, and we're looking forward to make a lot of changes. You know,
What was that study about? Tell us more about that in the ACI.
so that was it was put on by Leo Zhang. Sorry, I've known him for 12 years, and I've said his last name wrong for about 11 of them. I'm trying to correct it. It is a precision statement to verify how you can use laser scanners for construction. They did one in 2018. The results were less than stellar, would be the polite way to put that. So we're trying to correct that course and make sure that, you know, as we move into future, that we have something we can build standards off of, and we actually have a number that we can use that, you know, you can expect to see from a laser scanner. It was 13 different participants. We had 4 manufacturers, 3 service providers, 4 or 5, 4 contractors, and 2 surveyors. Full study will be coming out pretty soon. It was a really good time. Big shout out to actually Eric from Laser Scanning Europe. He provided a calibration rod that is going to really help us, you know, verify the calibration of the sensor. And then RS Systems provided targets. So all in all, great study. I'm looking forward to doing more with it.
Nice.
Matt, can you give some more information on why the older study, you said it was 2018, was less than stellar?
Well, I didn't participate in it. I can say that, you know, honestly, I think it was probably a lot of the targets. So, and some of the things we tried to correct in this study was the previous study, a lot of like all measurements were taken from black and white targets, which in my mind just shows how well a scanner can pick up a black and white target, not necessarily how well it can do a concrete. The problem being is they went around and they stuck black and white paper targets loosely on concrete, and it rained overnight. You have to do it over a couple of days. And you know, a lot of the targets have been moved or shifted, or so, and I don't want to give too much away from the study before it's released, but we found ways to correct that. RS Systems targets was a good way. We did snap lines. People had to pick targets so that, you know, we're actually measuring concrete, not black and white targets as far as the analysis goes.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody went twice over a couple of days, so it wasn't, you know, it wasn't right after each other. You went, you know, spread it out. It was all about repeatability and accuracy, and it's I'm seeing about 4,000 or 5,000 on my data, so it's gonna turn out pretty well. Yeah.
So that's one of the things the committee it is up to, I guess. But going back to the beginning, what is the committee exactly, and why do you guys exist? What is your purpose and some of your goals you guys are working towards?
Right. So I think to go back to the very beginning, it all kind of started with a vision for a more transparent industry that gives away critical information ahead of the sale rather than finding out after. For me, it was getting started with a manufacturer and noticing a lot of discrepancies and just thinking like there has to be an easier way to make this digestible for a new to industry person. And talking about it in the very beginning, Dustin and I went back and forth and said, what's the low hanging fruit, right? What's the easiest thing to modify to make things easier? And that's the first thing you would go to when you come into the market: manufacturer spec sheets, right? What is the product? What is it going to give for me? What we noticed in looking at them is everyone does their own thing. There's no continuity at all. The metrics being used are completely different, and the order that they list those metrics are random at best, right? Some spec sheets are 5 pages of technical information that you don't even know how to digest, or that you even needed to know that information. Other manufacturers put out a half a sheet of hyperbole and give you 2 numbers. So how are you supposed to make a equal apples to apples comparison? So that's kind of where we started. And from that, we started to gain some traction and realize, hey, there's a vision for a better industry. What do we need to do to get our industry to be the best version of itself? We're still in an infancy stage. We have a lot of snake oil salesmen and hyperbole going around. We have an industry that is ripe for transparency and standards. So that's kind of why we exist, is to help the industry grow and bring everyone that's currently involved or choosing to be involved down the road up with us, right? So everyone's on the same page. We're all dealing with the same information, common knowledge base, until we can all help each other instead of fight with each other.
Yeah, and that's what started me on it too, and that's what I was like, yeah, I'm so excited about that aspect of it. Sorry, D, if you wanted to go next, but I jumped in. And it's really turned into something completely different for me, and it's, I mean, that too is a big part of it, but the education is sort of my big push inside the committee now. And we've really partnered with a lot of educators, and we're always hoping to get more involved. But I know the industry is pushing, or really wants, like a certification program. So we're working with a lot of people that make me feel very dumb rather quickly. PhD level instructors for geomatics programs to help us build a certification program with a lot of backing. For an industry that really needs it. I mean, I'm sure if everybody's watched. Sorry, there's something flying around my face. If anybody's been around me, it's not very long before I use the whole, every time I turn around, there's a new laser scanning expert who was, a barista, 6 months ago. So like,
hey, I'm still a barista, man. Don't hate.
I know. I made a latte this morning, but. The thing is you need to know that when someone shows up on your job site with a laser scanner, that you can trust what they're going to produce. Because as one of our committee members is good at saying, is intelligent data is expensive, but not near as expensive as bad data, right?
Right.
And so we've been able to create almost a circle of life, so that the educators and the students from the education programs will participate in the testing and go to the shows with us, hopefully, and network, and we can help bring the next generation into the industry in a good way, and actually expose people in the industry to the up and coming, future reality capture stars. I think we're building something that's pretty important, and I'm super excited to be part of it.
So
Likewise.
kind of touched on a couple heads of the organization. There's kind of three sections, I guess you'd call them, of the committee. Can one of you touch on that and how you guys plan to branch out in totally different ways?
Sure. Yeah, thank you, David. So we're starting with our foundation is education. That being paramount. If everyone's on the same educational baseline when they start, they can learn and adopt from there, but everyone at least has the same generalized understanding of the industry, what you can and can't do with the technology, what to expect. And then from there, you can get into the best workflows and practices for the practicality. So we want to help bring people up that are using it through the education. Another branch outside of education but ties in is going to be testing, where we're going to design tests with the help and the input of the industry. What is a test that someone wants to see done? Maybe you don't have access to the sensors or you don't have the time. Let us get, all of that information on what people want, put together a test in conjunction with the students that we're working with, and then we'll put out a report on that same test. All of that being free information that we want to give out to the industry, doing reporting such as states of the industry, doing testing such like we've done in the past at GeoWeek. This past year, we tested SLAM scanners and statics, terrestrial laser scanners, in the same environment to see, is there a difference between the SLAM units to the terrestrial, and then further break down the SLAM units by sensor. So we really want to dive into what is available on the market. What is the best application for that? How does it work in synergy with another device in the same realm, right? SLAM versus terrestrial, aerial. How do those all come together? And is there a best workflow for the best results out of that combination of sensors? So we really want to be multi-focused, but the three main branches of the committee are going to be, number one, education, number two, the testing, and then number three, the reporting on all of that coming out.
Yeah. And we're also the part of the testing, and D is the head guy for that subcommittee, is the we are monitoring new technologies and waiting till they're mature enough to actually test. So that way people don't have to spend all of their time trying to stay on the cutting edge. Like, we're trying to do that for everybody. Yeah, I don't know if Dee wants to speak to that. I don't know if he's still with us or if we lost him.
Yeah, having connectivity issues. Yeah, I mean, that's there. Like you said earlier, like every day there's a new scanner release. There's a new application. I mean, we're not even getting into the whole concept of nerfs and Gaussian splats and all that, right? Because that's still, talk about infancy. That's only 3 years old. The crazy thing about this industry is laser scanning is not new, right? I mean, we have a number of people, actually, I know some of them are on this call, Payman Bashiri. Like, I'm a baby in this industry in comparison to a lot of people, and it still feels like it's in its infancy as far as adoption goes, and we have no standards. We have no, there's no oversight, right? So yeah, we get to do, the fun stuff with testing the new technologies that are coming out, proving them, and then sharing all that information and seeing what other people do with it.
Yeah, the other people do with it. I think that's the biggest part of the committee, is that we're aiming to be sort of open source, right? We want the feedback from the community on what the community wants to see, what they think as a best move forward for the industry given their discipline. And to that, we want to be a voice for all disciplines. So just because you're not in AEC or one of like the larger disciplines that are already within reality capture, let's say, public safety, forestry, there's a lot of applications for the tech, but those disciplines are either underrepresented or maybe they feel as though they're not represented at all. And we want to give them a voice. So we want to hear they're good, they're bad. We want to be their outreach. Not a forum where you just talk back and forth online, but a direct communication to someone who's able to help. They either give you a referral or get you the answer to the questions that you're really dying for the answers to.
Yeah, and I noticed Forrest as asking about pushback, and it's quite the opposite. One of the brainchilds of this was a cry from the industry for it. I sat through a meeting with the ACI, and they kept on saying, "Well, let's push for them being certified." And the answer was like, "No one offers a certification," and we've come across that a ton of times. Everybody wants a certification, so Yeah, we're not seeing. I'm not seeing a whole lot of pushback. Are you guys seeing pushback on that?
No.
And I like the fact that you guys have already, one, you touched about all these disciplines that get overlooked, but a lot of your guys' members are also from those disciplines that you've, already found people in those areas and, already implemented them into the group for this long-term expansion. You guys want to talk about some of the other members that you guys have?
Yeah. Can I take this one, Chris?
You sure can, Mac.
Yeah. So we and we're always. I mean, the cool thing about reality capture is there's always a new use case for it. I just found a new one today. I randomly property management guys, but we have forestries, we have nuclear guys, metrology guys, we have multimedia guys, we have surveyors, obviously, construction guys,
BIM.
BIM. Yeah, we have a guy from BIM who isn't a scanner guy, right? But he definitely has a lot at stake when it comes to how reality capture affects what he's doing. So he's fully invested. And we're always looking to grow. So there's definitely something, feel free to join at any time. It doesn't cost anything, just time,
Yeah, totally free to join. We do have an open meeting we want to promote total transparency. So all of our meetings are going to be open to the public. If you want to sit in on a meeting and just see what we're talking about, feel free to join in. If you so choose to join on a regular basis, love to have the input from any of the users.
How does somebody join? How do they reach out? What would be the best way?
So the easiest way to join in right now would be just to directly reach out to one of us. We can send the link, or if we want to put the link up, post the meeting in the description. They can just click on the Google or whichever of the committees that we have for testing, education, and reporting. If they want to get into that, we can give them the meetings for those. Or the links to those meetings, or just the general one, we can provide the link for them, or they can reach out to us directly and start a conversation and take it from there.
So we got our first question. If anybody else has any questions, feel free to not wait till the end, put them up.
Sure.
Chris, you mentioned kind of some of the reluctance of manufacturers. I don't call any out, but why do you think that is? Why are they hesitant?
Mac?
Oh, I love how you're trying to put my business on the line. The reluctancy, I don't know if it's necessarily reluctance or if it's different goals, so to speak. So no one's holding them to a certain way of testing. So they're just testing however it best looks for their instrument, right? And so some people might test more on, say, how fast an instrument can go and how fast you can turn around something, or a lot of them might test on like how accurate a certain aspect of it is, and that's where they're really concentrating. Everybody is showing their instruments in the best light possible, and what our goal is to show them all in the same light, right? But also from different aspects, right? We don't want to like test them all on the same thing that is good for just one of them. We want to test them from every different angle and give you. We don't grade anything, and you get me a beer or two, and I might tell you what I think about how one weighs over the other one. But like as far as our official reports, like it's like pluses and minuses. This is how it did on reflections. This is how it did for this. We would recommend it for these use cases, right? Our goal isn't to tear down any manufacturer. It's to build up an industry. The thing that I like to say at Lightaholics, and it definitely works well for the committee, is there is no perfect scanner, but there's a perfect scanner for you. So I mean, there's a scanner out there that is very, very nimble, small, usable. It's not by far my favorite scanner for most of my uses, but I think for certain uses it's a perfect scanner, right? I mean, the thing can almost fit in your pocket. So yeah, it's about transparency and creating an environment where the customer gets to see, gets to pick a scanner that works for them.
Yeah, I think the manufacturers will start to get on board with where we're trying to go. Right now, their reluctance is probably, if anything, on the manufacturer side, they're each able to do whatever is best for them in the sales environment. There's no standards for this industry. I would say to that, our initial, what do you want to call it, inspiration was the Monroney sticker, more commonly known as the car information on the back driver's side window of every new car is a sticker. They modified a field when they came out with electric vehicles, but that sticker's been around since the late 50s when a congressman was tasked by Congress to start a committee and dive into the world of shady used car salesmen who were basically selling lemons to people just to make money. The government decided to crack down on that. A byproduct of that committee ended up being the Monroney sticker that you see on the back of a car window. We're using that for the spec sheet to create normalization, and hopefully over time, the manufacturers will accept that and maybe self-govern the industry into a standard. If not, then it's just going to be a Wild West free-for-all until the government kind of gets their hands on our industry and decides that they need to put standards in place for us.
Chris, like when we were going through all those standardizations and trying to draw parallels from scanner to scanner, tech sheet to tech sheet, one of the first things we recognize is like although the definitions and the terminology and things used, like there's a lot of overlap, right, from scanner to scanner. I mean, it's at the end of the day, like we're bouncing light off of surfaces, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we found that the biggest differences among scanners weren't, although our focus a lot is speed at this point, right? That's most of the scanners that have excelled in the past 5-6 years, it's been because of speed. And it's less because of accuracy. Would you agree that that's kind of what the conclusion we came to, is less about accuracy and more about those other features that change the way you work with this hardware?
Yeah, I think the evolution over the last couple of years has gone from accuracy to speed to workflow. What's the most condensed workflow to get from acquisition to deliverable in the least amount of steps? I think that's where we're at now, more so than it used to be. Accuracy, accuracy, accuracy. Then it became speed, and now it's overall workflow.
Right.
Yeah.
Seemed like you had a comment, Mac.
Yeah, no, Chris actually covered it perfectly, which, I mean, I think it still falls under speed, right? The workflow part of it. I mean, I agree with you. The industry is going towards speed. And I immediately had a reaction because I'm still very much in the accuracy realm of the house. So my body reaction happened before my brain caught up to it. Because they're definitely, the industry is going towards speed. We're seeing SLAM, and there's a big push towards things like I don't want to call it any names, but there's one that we use in real estate a lot, right? And it's people are trying to use that for dimensional data. So
it's a game changer.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
I had to. I'm sorry.
Thank you. No, that was perfect.
So there is a definite push towards speed, but and this is the thing that we're trying to bring light to is sometimes that speed gives up too much accuracy, right? So we have some people trying to use this real estate acquisition tool in construction or something else, and it's just like it's not going to work out well for anybody. I mean, it's sort of the reasons why I love Gaussian splats, but they're not accurately dimensional data. So to me, they're not useful for me yet. And then I'm going to jump ahead real quick, Jonathan, to your next question. We actually officially don't have any manufacturers that have a representative on the committee. Everybody is from the industry. Now, we do have people that work for manufacturers, but they are not there in an official sense for the manufacturer. We're not opposed to that, but we're agnostic as much as we can be. We all have our favorites, right? But we don't have one manufacturer represented over anyone else.
Yeah, in our favor, we don't have any. So if you're thinking of, well, what is the committee, and what are your goals, what is your vision? Our vision is for the industry. The reality capture industry is an infinite game. Players are going to come, players are going to go. The market is what we're concerned on, right? We want the market to stay, to grow, to be able to prosper and warrant new technology coming out, right? So from our standpoint, the manufacturers are going to develop whatever they're going to develop. We want to test that and report on it to those who are interested in buying it, more so than, actually, I don't want to say cozying up to any one manufacturer, but we're not here to appease any manufacturer. We're here to serve the people.
And that's not to say that they don't participate. We had 13 or 14 manufacturers participate in our last scanner shootout.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, what was the previous one? How many do we have in that?
We had 4 in the one before it. We had, I think, all told, I think we actually had 18 at the end, because we had a couple of last minutes. So I think we were up to 18 total units at the very end that were represented in our tested Geo Week, February of this year.
So we've gone from 4 to 18 to God knows how many will be in the next one. So the manufacturer participation is definitely increased. And since you're Jonathan, I know you're from above the Great Wall. We do also participate with Can Slam. A lot of us are on the Can Slam, and a lot of the Can Slam people, actually, almost all the Can Slam people are on the committee too. So there's a lot of participation on that one too. So we can pull data from them. They can pull data from us. So there's that.
Yeah, Jonathan, to your question, no, we will get units. We are testing for the industry, not for the manufacturers. So, just like if you go out and buy it, there is no restriction on what you can do with it from the manufacturer. We're falling in that same line.
So I've heard a little bit about some of you guys on the committee are going to be involved with commercial UAV and speaking. What all are you guys doing at that upcoming big event?
Yeah. You want me to take that one, Chris?
Yeah, go ahead, Mac. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are trying to partner with as many speaking engagements as we can, because we definitely, we're not tied to terrestrial or SLAM based. We have UAV, we have everything else. So we are participating in as many of the communities and use cases as we can to be involved and get feedback. So at ComUAV, we are moderating a panel. We're not presenting at that one, but we're going to be there in that environment, and we can hear from industry professionals that we might not hear from otherwise about their pain points. A big thing we're doing is data collection, because we can't solve problems we don't know about. Just like Jonathan, Go Geomatics, where we are, I think several of us are presenting at that, and we have a panel discussion. And then Geo Week, we're presenting there, and several other shows that I can't think of off the top of my head.
What was the show you spoke at recently for the committee in Oregon?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so that was a fun one. Also very intimidating. I'm not usually very intimidated around people, but it was I can never remember. It's the Society of Engineering and Survey. It's all the educators for across North America, Canada, and the U.S. Their society conference, and then I think they had a combination with a couple other organizations, but the two people that spoke before me, they were going over their PhD thesis for the algorithms they were developing for reality capture. And then I just got up and did my whole spiel about the committee, but it was also a great environment to be part of. So yeah, that was a fun one.
And what is your panel that you guys are moderating? What's the topic at hand?
So that Common UAV is that?
Yeah.
So that's going to be a fun one. That's on accuracy in UAV, basically. So how can you obtain the most accurate results from drone-based lidar and photogrammetry? So it's right up our alley. It's not testing sensors, but it's definitely like workflow testing, which is something that we need to evaluate too, because ultimately what everybody wants is the most accurate, fast deliverable. And so yeah, we are starting to look at all the way to the end, different aspects, and piecing that all together to help people develop a good workflow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and David, too, other events, as the audience is traveling to different trade shows, you may see one of us or hear the committee being mentioned at these shows. We're looking to give presentations on the testing that we've done in the past. As we do testing, we'll be looking to present on that at the next available show applicable to that test, and be moderators and be on panels. So in the very near future, it's more than likely that you go to an event, someone from the committee will be present. So if you are one that goes to all of these events and you like, kind of our vision, our mission, by all means, please, reach out, and, we'd love to have you on board and represent, the committee and the industry at these shows, and be a public facing, representative.
So if somebody just wants to get more information about the committee, do you guys have a newsletter or website? Is that coming in the pipeline, ways just people can get more information, more than just sitting in from the meetings?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dee, do you want to take that one?
Hey, while we're waiting, I believe it was the SAGES, SAGES conference in Oregon. I don't CTE doesn't ring a bell to me. Jesse, sorry.
You there, Dee?
Let's see, he might have had to step away. Yes, we will have a website. That's why I was asking Dee, that we're developing right now that should be going live here soon. And we're also going to have social media channels as well that you could find us on under the name of The Committee when those do go live here very shortly. And our website is, correct me if I'm wrong, the committee or Committee XYZ. Dee, do you want to give the official?
Yeah, the committee.xyz. Yeah.
Okay, the committee.xyz.
Yeah, and then as far as connecting with us directly, like to all of us directly, talk to at the committee.xyz. We'll send that out as well. But yeah, sorry, I just keep having connectivity issues, so I'm not trying to bail on you guys.
Not a problem.
Great. What
right.
Let's see if there's any other questions. What else do you guys have to add? A lot of good information. Appreciate all the involvement in the questions. Our famous celebrity had to go, but thank you for coming, Eric. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Eric.
And, we are not we are very understanding. Several of us are business owners. Several of us are employees. We all know everybody has busy schedules. I mean, that's one of the things most educators are worried about when they join. It's like, oh, I don't have time, and it's, well, when you can join, great. When you can't, not. And I mean, a little bit of participation goes a long ways. Even if you just message one of us on LinkedIn and say, hey, this is the major issue I'm seeing in the industry, and then we can take it and run with it, right? But we want as much community involvement as possible, because otherwise, what are we doing?
And Mac, like we've got the audience, right? So I think you should plug your lounge.
Oh yeah, I already plugged Lightaholics plenty of times. Why not the lounge?
Well, yeah, because the lounge is freaking awesome, and I'm mad that I can't get there more often. So we need more. I would like to see more people come.
Yes.
So the lounge started as the idea of. It actually started because a couple of buddies and I used to go to a bar, and instead of just sitting there and getting drunk, we'd break our computers out and process point cloud data and learn from each other, and like a bunch of nerds with their computers in a bar taking up room. And so I decided to start Lido's Lounge. It's every other Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And it was originally like, all right, we'll get on. We'll do what we do at a bar, right? I'm always drinking it. You don't have to. And it was like free open source customer support was the original idea. So if you're having an issue and you can't get support or whatever, join Lido's Lounge. Between the group of us, there's enough experience. We should be able to answer your questions. What it's evolved into is a group of people that just enjoy talking about this. So we sit around for an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, and just BS about what we saw over the last 2 weeks in the reality capture industry. It's a great time, and the basis is still there. Anybody who wants to join and have a problem, we've had students join from state that had issues, but it's really evolved into like a bunch of us just bitching. I have to edit a lot of things out before it gets posted, but
especially when I show up. But yes. Yeah.
Right. So if the listeners, I want them to understand that our big takeaway is that we are a collective representation of the community at large, always looking to include more people of like mind. And just know that if you do reach out to us, if you have a success story or a horror story, we're not going to take that and make it anonymous unless you would like us to. We are going to be your voice. So if it's your story that you want shared, we'll be a platform for you to share it. Good, bad, ugly, we want it all, right? We want to hear from you everything that you currently feel and think about the reality capture industry. How do we make ourselves better?
Well put.
Beautiful. So do you have any other kind of timetables? You mentioned pretty near future for the website. Any kind of timetables you can share for or some testing or the certifications when you'd like those to be out more in the public or anything of that realm?
So the last test we did at Geo Week, there's been some hurdles, and then the ACI test kind of took up a lot of our reporting guys' time. But now that study, the hard part's been done and us processing, we're going to start working on producing the reports from that last one. The thing we were trying to do at last Geo Week, and it's just, I mean, it's impossible. And, you wouldn't expect to show up, scan something, and then do a presentation on it the same day. So what we were trying to scan everything, put a presentation together, and then before the end of the show, present on it. And that's just an impossibility. Hey, speaking of which,
there he is.
My man. Look at him. So we are planning on doing testing at these shows and then presenting on those tests at the next show. That way, we don't rush anything. And the cool thing about these testings is we learn something every time. We learned a lot of things from Geo Week testing that we applied to the ACI testing. We'll probably learn things from the ACI testing that we'll use at the next Geo Week testing. And we're really, I mean, if there's anybody out there that has a great idea for testing, we're open for it. I think we need to do more UAV testing. I don't think we have any current plans for testing other than next Geo Week. Do we, Chris?
Not at the moment, but something comes up. We're always open to testing, reporting, getting that information out to the industry. So yeah, Geo Week would be the next one that would be a definite plan. Do the test at Geo Week. If anyone's already, planning on being there or thinking about going there, come find us. We'll be basically roaming around in the free areas down by the registration booth. We don't have a table or anything. We'll just be floating around as a collective group of individuals, doing some testing, and then reporting on it later. So if you have something in mind, come let us know. You want to be a part of the test, come let us know. I mean, we're open for involvement from everyone.
That is a great idea, Jesse. I'm writing that down.
Great idea.
Yeah.
And then what about the certifications? Any idea on how that exactly will work, or how long it'll take to get one?
That's going to be a slower based. We want to make sure it's done right, and we want to have a lot of industry feedback, because we want people to believe in it and send people to it and have it be a thing. How it's going to work generally is going to be, as it stands right now, everybody's leaning towards an initial phase of like online at your own pace learning. We're exploring. There are some, it's kind of like a video game where you run around with a scanner and some targets, and you put the scanner down, you put the targets down, or spheres even, and then it will produce an E57, and then we can look at shadows and placement and stuff like that. But we definitely want to have a finalized in-person testing. The thing we got to figure out is it has to be agnostic. It can't be like, people need to learn what phase-based and other things about reality capture is. They don't need to learn how to use a specific manufacturer's scanner. So there's still a lot of nuts and bolts to figure out about that, but it's definitely online, virtual, and then finish up with an in-person. And we'll probably do those at shows or we have enough people in the committee across the US and Canada that like you can meet up with a committee member and they can run you through a course and finalize it.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a nonprofit. The certification we haven't figured out a cost yet, but will cost. But all that money gets put back into the testing and shows and bringing students along with us.
Right. So what Mac is touching on is that we want to create a certification for competency and develop a relationship with members of the industry to promote growth, especially for those new to industry. Maybe they're in a geomatics program. And they're learning a little bit about laser scanning. They want to learn more. Our competency course, and then that can lead into potential internships or project opportunities with other members of the committee through their companies. So just a big referral network, giving people opportunities to get out on a job site that may be out of your norm or something that you could be interested in. Getting hands-on with different pieces of technology, maybe in the same discipline or maybe across multiple disciplines. We want to open up opportunities for people to get hands-on and get experience after they have that baseline competency.
Yeah. Well, great to hear, and important to note that whole thing is a nonprofit. All of you guys are volunteering your time. It's all for just the expansion of the community and continuing on the progress that the industry is making. So let's one more question from Jesse. I think that's our last one, though. We're getting close to the hour. Thank you for your participation, Jesse. We appreciate it.
So no, we're still building it, so it hasn't been approved by the NSPS or state organizations. But with a lot of the educators we're working with, we are filling a gap that there is no. We're not stepping on anybody's toes, I guess would be the point of this. Those are things that we want to we would love to get, but we're still building and working towards that. That's definitely something that we're exploring, but they're yeah, it's just not built there yet to take to them.
Right. Jesse, we're open for, your input on that. We want to be a bridge between the university degree and the manufacturer's training specific to a product. We want to be that bridge in the middle where the common understanding of LiDAR would play a part, and then we don't want to supplement, we want to enhance manufacturer specific training per product.
And Jesse, we're working with a lot of your neighbors down there. Mike Olson, Ezra, they're all part of this from Oregon State University. So they're actually a big influence on this. Yeah.
Well, we still have a little time. If anybody else has any comments, we'd love to hear it. A lot of nice comments though from there. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
And Jonathan wrote in again at the end. A lot of other nice comments from people, but appreciate you guys joining me today.
Thank you, David.
One more from Jesse. So
yeah,
perfect.
Jesse, we'll send you a link for the, unless you need a separate meeting, but we'll send you a link for the next committee meeting. We would love to hear your ideas and needs for sure.
That's on Tuesday afternoons.
Actually, hold on. Can we put that up, David? If I grab it and put it in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think, we just moved from, we were doing it every week while we were building.
You can write it on LinkedIn on the event, or I'll just write it in the chat and I can turn them on.
Okay.
But now they're monthly, right?
Correct. It's going to be the last Tuesday of every month. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to grab the link and we'll put it in the chat. Yes.
Thank you, Payman. Just FYI, we partially thanks to you, Lightaholics is now carrying ZNF. I've jumped on that train as well.
You put it like on the as a comment. If you put it on the private chat, Chris, it won't let me copy that one.
All right, will do.
And I'll send that to you in a private message too, Jesse.
Okay, it's in the private chat, David.
There we go. Great.
I'll
put that on LinkedIn for everybody there in the comments. But again, we appreciate you all. I'll send that to you in a message just here in a moment. But thank you all for joining.
And also thank you, David, for putting this together and putting it on.
Yes, thank you, David. Greatly appreciate it. And glad to have you aboard the committee.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you again soon.
Okay, thank you. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.